What if the life you're living right now is only 10% of what your mind is capable of creating? What if, in just a few minutes, you could step into a state where your thoughts shape reality? Tonight, you don't just think, you reprogram who you are. There is a part of your mind that most people never learn to access, a level where noise disappears and clarity begins to speak, a place where your thoughts are no longer scattered but aligned with power and purpose. This is not imagination. This is not fantasy. This is a real state of mind that exists within you right now, waiting for you to enter it consciously instead of visiting it by accident. Every night before you fall asleep, you naturally pass through this level, but because you are unaware, you miss the opportunity to use it. The difference between those who struggle and those who transform their lives is not intelligence, not luck, but awareness of this hidden doorway inside their own mind. When you begin to slow down your thoughts, when your body relaxes and your breathing becomes calm and steady, something extraordinary starts to happen. Your brain shifts into a rhythm where resistance fades away, where doubts lose their grip, where the subconscious mind opens like a door that was always there but never noticed. In this state, you are no longer fighting yourself. You are no longer trying to force change. You are entering a level where change happens naturally, where ideas flow without effort, where solutions appear without struggle, where your mind becomes a partner instead of an obstacle. This is the level where creativity is born, where intuition becomes clear, where healing begins, and where your deepest beliefs can be reshaped. Think about it. Every belief you carry, every limitation you accept, every fear that holds you back was programmed into your subconscious at some point. And if it was programmed, it can be reprogrammed. But you cannot access that control from a noisy, distracted state of mind. You must enter the calm, focused frequency where the subconscious listens without resistance. This is your power zone, the space where you stop reacting to life and start creating it. When you learn to enter this state consciously, you are no longer controlled by past conditioning or external circumstances. You begin to operate from within, shaping your thoughts, your emotions, and ultimately your reality. The moment you understand this, the moment you practice it, everything begins to shift because you are no longer living on the surface of your mind. You are operating from its deepest and most powerful level. Most people believe that control comes from force, from pushing harder, thinking faster, doing more. But the truth is the exact opposite. Real control begins the moment you stop fighting your mind and start calming it. The body and the mind are deeply connected, and when the body is tense, the mind becomes restless, scattered, and resistant. But when you consciously relax your body, when you release the tension from your muscles, your face, your shoulders, your breath, you send a powerful signal to your mind that it is safe to slow down, safe to let go, safe to open. This is where the transformation begins, not in action, but in stillness. When you sit or lie down and gently close your eyes, when you take a slow, deep breath and allow it to flow naturally, you are not doing nothing. You are preparing everything. Each breath becomes a step downward, deeper into yourself, deeper into a state where the noise of the outside world begins to fade. Thoughts may still come, but they begin to lose their intensity, their urgency, their control over you. You are no longer chasing them, you are observing them, and in that observation you begin to separate from them. As your body becomes heavier and more relaxed, your mind follows. You may feel a sense of calm spreading from your head down to your toes, like a wave washing away tension you didn't even realize you were holding. This is not weakness. This is power in its purest form, because in this relaxed state, your mind is no longer locked in defense mode. It is no longer filtering every idea through fear or doubt. It becomes receptive, open, and ready to accept new directions. And this is the doorway. Relaxation is not the end goal. It is the key that unlocks access to your deeper mind. Without it, your subconscious remains guarded, protected by layers of tension and resistance. But with it, those barriers dissolve. You begin to gain influence over your internal world, not by force, but by alignment. You are not commanding your mind like a soldier, you are guiding it like a master. And in that guidance, you begin to realize that true control is not about doing more, it is about becoming still enough to direct the immense power that already exists within you. Your mind does not experience reality the way you think it does. It does not separate what is real from what is vividly imagined. To your subconscious, a deeply felt mental image carries the same power as a real life event. This is where most people underestimate their greatest ability. They see imagination as fantasy, as something distant from real results, but in truth, imagination is the blueprint of everything you will ever create. Before anything exists in the physical world, it first takes shape in the mind. When you enter a calm and focused state, when your thoughts slow down and your awareness becomes clear, your mind becomes highly receptive to images. In that moment, you are no longer just thinking, you are designing. Every picture you hold, every scene you replay, every outcome you imagine begins to leave an imprint on your subconscious, and your subconscious does not question it. It accepts it, absorbs it, and begins to work silently to bring your internal vision into external form. Think about the goals you have, the life you want, the person you want to become. If you only think about them casually, if you only wish for them without clarity, your mind receives weak signals. But when you see them clearly, when you build them in detail, when you imagine the environment, the sounds, the emotions, the success, as if it is happening now, something shifts. Your brain begins to align with that image. Your focus sharpens, your decisions change, your actions start moving in that direction without forcing yourself. This is not magic, this is programming. You are feeding your mind instructions in the language it understands best, which is imagery combined with feeling. The more real the image becomes in your mind, the more natural it feels to move toward it in your life. Doubt begins to fade because your subconscious has already accepted the outcome as possible, even familiar. And when you repeat this process, when you return to that same vision again and again, you strengthen it. You make it clearer, more powerful, more dominant than the old patterns that once controlled you. Slowly, without struggle, your internal world begins to change. And as it changes, your external reality has no choice but to follow. Because you are no longer reacting to life based on old conditioning, you are creating it based on a new internal design that you have consciously chosen to install within your mind. Your mind is shaped by what you repeat, not by what you wish for once. A single thought has little power on its own, but a thought that is repeated again and again becomes a belief, and a belief becomes your reality. This is how your current mindset was built, not in one moment, but through constant exposure to the same ideas, the same fears, the same limitations, until they felt true. The mind does not argue with repetition, it accepts it. And once it accepts something, it begins to operate as if it is real. This is where most people lose their power. They visualize once, they try once, they speak something positive once, and when nothing changes immediately, they stop. But the subconscious mind does not respond to occasional effort. It responds to consistent instruction. Just like a path in a forest becomes clearer the more you walk on it, the same happens inside your mind. Every repeated thought strengthens a neural pathway, making it easier for that thought to return, to grow, to dominate your behavior without you even realizing it. When you enter a calm state and begin to repeat a clear mental image or a powerful affirmation, you are not just thinking, you are writing code into your subconscious. The first time, it may feel unfamiliar. The second time, it may still feel distant. But as you continue, something begins to shift. The resistance weakens. The idea starts to feel more natural, more believable, and eventually it becomes part of you. Not something you try to believe, but something you automatically believe. This is how transformation truly happens, not through sudden change, but through steady, intentional repetition. You replace the old patterns not by fighting them, but by outgrowing them. You introduce new thoughts with such consistency that they become stronger than the old ones. Over time, your reactions change, your habits evolve, your decisions align with the new identity you have been reinforcing. And the most powerful part is that once a belief is fully accepted by your subconscious, it begins to work for you automatically. You no longer have to remind yourself. You no longer have to push yourself. Your mind starts guiding you, supporting you, directing you toward the reality you have programmed into it. This is why repetition is not boring. It is not unnecessary. It is the very process through which your mind is reshaped and your future is built from the inside out. Thoughts alone are not enough to transform your life. You can repeat words, you can create images, you can sit in silence for hours, but if there is no feeling behind it, the impact remains weak. The subconscious mind does not respond to logic the way your conscious mind does. It responds to intensity, to emotion, to the energy you attach to your thoughts. Emotion is the force that turns a simple idea into a powerful command. Think about the moments in your life that left the deepest mark on you. They were not just events, they were experiences filled with emotion. Whether it was fear, excitement, joy, or pain, those feelings made the moment unforgettable. Your subconscious captured it, stored it, and shaped your behavior around it. This is the same principle you must use consciously if you want to reprogram your mind. You cannot simply imagine success, you must feel it as if it is already yours. When you enter a relaxed and focused state, when your mind becomes calm and open, this is your opportunity to combine clear visualization with powerful emotion. As you see your goal in your mind, begin to feel what it would be like to achieve it. Feel the confidence in your body, the relief of overcoming struggle, the excitement of success, the pride of becoming who you once only dreamed of. Let that feeling grow. Let it spread through your entire being until it becomes real in that moment. This emotional intensity acts like a signal amplifier. It tells your subconscious that this is important, that this must be prioritized, that this is something to be accepted and acted upon. Without emotion, your thoughts are like whispers. With emotion, they become commands. The stronger the feeling, the deeper the impression it leaves, and the faster your mind begins to align with it. Over time, as you repeat this process, your emotional connection to your vision becomes stronger than your attachment to past limitations. Fear begins to lose its control because it is replaced by a more powerful feeling. Doubt fades because certainty has been reinforced again and again. You begin to operate from a place of belief rather than hesitation. And in that state, you are no longer just imagining a new reality, you are emotionally living it before it physically appears. And that is the moment your inner world shifts so deeply that your outer world has no choice but to follow the direction you have impressed upon your subconscious with feeling and conviction. There comes a moment when you realize that nothing outside of you has ever truly been in control. Not circumstances, not other people, not the past. Everything that shapes your life begins within you, in the patterns of thought you repeat, the beliefs you accept, and the images you hold about yourself and your future. Once you understand this, you stop waiting for change and start creating it. You begin to see that your mind is not something that happens to you, it is something you direct. Most people move through life unconsciously, reacting to situations, repeating habits, and reinforcing the same results without questioning why. They believe they are victims of reality, when in truth they are following a program that was written over time. But the moment you become aware of this program, the moment you step into that calm, focused state and begin to observe your thoughts instead of being controlled by them, everything shifts. Awareness becomes your first act of power. From that point forward, you are no longer just thinking, you are choosing. You are deciding what stays and what goes. You begin to replace limiting beliefs with intentional ones, not by force, but by consistent direction. Every time you relax your mind, every time you visualize with clarity, every time you repeat empowering ideas with emotion, you are actively rewriting the code that runs your life. And slowly, that code begins to reflect in everything you do. You start noticing changes in how you respond to challenges. Situations that once triggered fear now feel manageable. Decisions that once felt uncertain become clear. You begin to trust yourself in a way you never did before. Because you are no longer operating randomly, you are operating by design. Your mind becomes an ally, a system that supports your growth instead of resisting it. And this is where true power lives, not in controlling the world around you, but in mastering the world within you. Because when your inner world is aligned, when your thoughts, emotions, and beliefs are working together, your actions become focused and your results become inevitable. You are no longer drifting through life hoping things will change. You are directing your path with intention and clarity. At that point, you are not just someone trying to improve, you become the architect of your own reality, the one who builds from within, the one who shapes the future before it arrives, the one who understands that the greatest power you will ever have is the ability to program your own mind and live according to the vision you have consciously chosen to create